everyone, welcome back. You are listening to 한국어천재 on TBS EFM 101.3 in Seoul and the surrounding areas. And you guys know how it goes here on Thursdays. We like to tackle all the high-level Korean that you could encounter, whether it be 속담, whether it be 사자성어, whether it be 고사성어, whether it be 의성어 or 의태어. We tackle it all here. But thankfully, I'm not doing it alone. I got Professor Daniel here. Hi, Professor.
Good evening.
Good to have you back in the studio.
Always a pleasure to be here. I'm feeling kind of hungry tonight. So hint.
No, I was looking at the ones today. I got a sneak peek, you guys. And it's going to be so much fun because these are those things we're kind of sticking a little bit with our... I don't want to say easy because these are not easy, but they are fun, I want to say. We're sticking with our fun themes here. But I do want to go, before we start this week's topic, I kind of want to review last week's because we had a lot of fun going through a lot of the 의성어s and the 의태어s as well that you can encounter here in Korea. And so last week, we started talking about animal sounds.
We sure did. Where else are we going to start, right?
Exactly.
Easiest to cover, right? So.
And so we covered a whole host of animals, but if we're going to give you a quick rundown here, we kind of compared the English sounds to the Korean sounds and how they can sound a little different, right?
Very different, agreed, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we review some of those?
I like it. Let's do it. What was our first one we had?
Okay, so for dogs, in English, of course, there's woof, woof, bow, wow, lots of ones, different ones. And in Korean, the kind of go-to 의성어 here would be 멍멍.
Yeah, the 멍멍. I love them. They're so cute. It sounds exactly like a dog. You can just hear these little ones yipping away. Mong, mong, mong. It's so cute. But then what was the cat?
Oh, the cat is yaong, yaong.
Oh, that was really sweet. Daniel.
Breaking voice, right? I feel like a teenager again. Right?
That was so cute. But yeah, in English we say meow, but in Korean they say yaong, yaong, which is why we sometimes call cats like yaonga or yaongi, they're really cute. And so we have the 멍멍 and the yaong, but then we had the pig, which is my favorite.
Yes, so this is a double consonant here, so I'll give it a try. 꿀꿀, 꿀꿀.
Yours is so high pitched. Mine drops 10 octaves. I'm like 꿀, 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 꿀. Yours is way cuter than mine.
No. The more realistic depiction would be a lower voice there, right?
Well, and then we also got into the next one, which I felt like more people would be familiar with because there was a song named
by a band
after
we
them.
won't mention.
Yeah. We don't want to ask Professor Daniel who he stands, what band he follows.
I will not get into my K-pop alliances or preferences here, right?
Thankfully, yeah. So we had roar or even growl.
Sure, yes. For a tiger, lion, or liger. Right?
Yeah, anything like that. What would you do for Korean?
Sure. So 우르렁.
Oh, I love that one. 으르렁. 으르렁 is that kind of growling, deep sound that those big cats kind of make. The 으르렁. Oh, I love that. That's such a good one. And then we got into some higher pitched ones there. What was the next one?
Okay, so the next two can kind of be easily confused. So you want to pay attention to the slight differences in sound here. So a bird would go chick, chick.
Chick, chick. Chick, chick. Okay, got the chick, chick. And then what was the second one?
And then a mouse or rat or some other, small creature might go chick, chick.
Oh, I can see where you get confused with this one here. So we have chick, chick for birds, but let's say like a mouse or a rat, something a little small creature. That's the chick, chick.
Exactly, yes.
Chick, 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 chick. There we go. Oh, those are close there, so make sure you're being careful with those. And then what was our next one we had?
Okay, much bigger animal here. And you got to say this, I guess, a little more slowly. So a cow in Korean would go, meh.
I love this. Last week, I'm pretty sure my lungs left my body because I was like, meh. It was not an attractive look for me at all. And I can't believe that will forever be on the internet. We actually got some questions here. AD says, 으르렁 is not quite spelled like that there. It's 으르렁.
Exactly. So you got the R, the EU sound, right? So if you're going to spell it out in English.
Yeah. And then Kim Siun here says, 울음소리는 없나요? What do you think? What sound do foxes make?
That reminds me of another song. Right.
Oh no! Both you and Kim Shi-yoon got the joke, and here I am like, what sound does a fox make?
The sound of a fox crying.
Oh, I cannot stand that song. We are not singing that, Kim Shi-yoon. I see you.
Isn't that like 10 years old now too, right? So, it's an awesome song.
It's great. But then this last one was the one that we had so much fun with. It is the dreadful, at least in my opinion, roosters.
Yes, so in Korea, a rooster will wake you up by saying "kokodek" or "kokyo."
That's the second one is my favorite. Kokyo!
It's a great one. Right?
It's so much fun. Gosh, they are going to have screenshots to say forever of both of us here.
Facial reactions say it all, right? So, yeah.
But we did have fun last week as well, not just doing sounds of animals, but we also talked about different phrases where you can use these sounds to actually describe things.
Sure,
too.
and the whole point is to use them in a sentence, not just to make funny sounds, right? So one example I would give would be 무서워서 찍소리도 못했어.
Yeah, and that was a really good one because I feel like it's actually quite similar to the English where something is so scary that you can't even make a peep. Like you can't even make a squeaky sound at all. Like a mouse. You can't do that chick chick 소리.
Exactly.
So
you feel all cowered in.
Yeah, you can sort of picture it like a little mouse just being, can't even do it. So it's really cute. But this week, we're kind of stepping in a little bit further from, we're not just sticking to sounds here. We're going to go on full sentences.
Yes, for sure.
But we're still sticking to these kind of cool sounds that you will hear in Korean, ways of describing different mimetic words we would often say.
Onomatopoeia all the way. Right?
Exactly. So what's this first one we're doing?
Okay, so I deliberately did not eat tonight to make these sounds as realistic as
Wonderful.
we could. Yeah. So the first one I want to go over is gulp.
꿀꺽.
Gulp, exactly. So,
Okay.
and this is to gulp, typically a liquid, not necessarily a food per se, but a liquid, the beverage that you're drinking. So, or the idea of saliva as well, which is in our example here. So let's have a look. 마시는 냄새에 침이 꿀꺽 넘어갔다.
마시는 냄새에 침이 꿀꺽 넘어갔다. And so as you said, that 꿀꺽 there is kind of that sound for when you swallow something, right? It's just that...
Liquid going down.
Yeah, so that's the 꿀꺽. And make sure you guys hit that 상기역 there because it's
Exactly.
a really hard G sound. It's not like 꿀꺽. It's 꿀꺽.
For both syllables too, yeah.
Exactly. So it's really sharp G sounds on that there. But what does that mean exactly?
Oh, this particular sentence?
Yeah.
So, smelled something delicious cooking, and I swallowed my saliva. I was salivating.
I love it. The way you said the first, I swallowed my
And
saliva.
that did not sound the way I assumed it would, right? So,
But you know, it's kind of funny because the Korean here talks about like how you picture it. There's something delicious and you're looking at it and you just here because it looks so good. But I feel like in English, more than using that phrase of like gulping down spit, we usually use the phrase drooling. Like, oh my God, it smells so good, I'm drooling.
or my mouth is watering.
Yeah. And so instead of talking in English about how you swallow it, you talk about how it almost is pouring out of your mouth. But it's the same feeling
Exactly.
for this.
Different direction, going in, going out, kind of. Yeah.
So in Korean here, we talk about that swallowing sound, just swallowing that spit. Spit is chim. That's what you're talking
Exactly,
about. 침이 꿀꺽 넘어갔다. So what's the second one here? Because we're sticking to the swallowing.
Yes, we are. And this is a little confusing here. See, the second one is 꿀떡.
꿀떡.
And
Okay.
this can be, I've been told, for liquid and for food here.
Oh, okay. So the first one was just for liquid.
Yes, just for liquid.
The second one here can apply to food and liquid. Let's take a look at it.
Okay, so number 2 here is 사탕을 한 입에 꿀떡 삼켰다.
사탕을 한 입에 꿀떡 삼켰다. Oh, I love how these sound so similar, and that will make me very confused in the future. We have the 꿀꺽 and 꿀떡. And these are also those 상글자. That's the 상기역 and the 상디귿 for 꿀떡 there. So make sure you hit those hard. But what is this saying?
Oh, this says that you swallowed the candy in one gulp. So the 한 입에 there, and I mispronounced that, but that you swallowed the candy in one gulp. That you were so eager to kind of swallow it.
And it's sort of kind of giving that feeling of like the speed of it, right? Like you're just swallowing it and they're just like, it just went down like right in there.
In
and
one go.
Oh gosh, I can just picture my old students. Anytime they did something like a good job, I would give them a little candy. I can't say exactly which one. There's a little candy I would give them, and they would gulp it down because they were scared I would take it back from them later. They were like, nope, eating it now.
꿀떡, right?
꿀떡. And then that 삼켰다 there is talking about swallowing it down, right?
Exactly. And that would be similar to 넘어갔다, I would say, in our first example. Yeah.
Perfect here. Now, what is this third one you have?
Ooh, this is a tough one here. So I'll just read the sentence first.
Yeah.
So 피곤해서 아이스커피를 벌컥벌컥 들이켰다.
That one's hard. I have to say, you guys, so even for me, this pronunciation, so 피곤해서 아이스커피를 벌컥벌컥 들이켰다. And that 벌컥벌컥 is, what does that mean exactly?
To guzzle a liquid?
Guzzle. I love
Drain
this.
it down, right?
I'm sure our Korean speakers here are probably loving the English lesson as well. We've got gulp, we have swallow, we've got guzzle. And so this one here, that 벌컥 is talking about guzzling something,
Guzzling,
right?
yeah, a liquid again. Yeah.
Okay, so what is it saying here? You're tired because you're tired?
Yeah, so I'm feeling kind of fatigued, so I guzzled my iced coffee.
I mean, makes sense, you guys. That's me every morning, 8 a.m. I am in front of my coffee shop and I'm like, this one, I'm not even going to taste it. It just needs to go in like we're filling up a car with gas. I just need the energy here.
Caffeine, please, right?
I will enjoy my second coffee later in a few hours, but this first one, this is literally just caffeine 충전. Like,
Exactly,
that's it.
yes.
But what's this fourth one we have?
Oh, this is a good one too. So just to bring in the animals a little bit. So we have for number 4, 우리 멍멍이는 오도독 개물어 먹어요.
I love this. So, as we said before, you guys, last episode we talked about how 멍멍, of course, is the sound that they make, but we also will sometimes call the animals, like I said for the cats, the yaong, like yaonga. We sometimes call the dogs 멍멍이.
Sure, or 멍멍아 as well.
Yeah. And even funnier, I mentioned this last week, because of the spelling, it's a meum and an aw there. Sometimes people made this kind of new word of 댕댕이, which is the same thing. You might see, 댕댕이, 진짜 귀여운 댕댕이. That's the same thing as 멍멍. It's just changing the spelling of where those lines are to look a little cuter. But anyway, we're talking about the dog here. And the 오도독 깨물어 먹어요. What is that 오도독?
To eat in a kind of crunchy or munchy way. So something hard, maybe probably a bone or some doggy treat, I guess. Yeah.
I love this. Can you guys just picture that in your head? So picture like a little 멍멍이, a little dog or a little puppy just sitting there and you got that hard food that they have in their bowl and they just go in there and they're just like just chewing it all up
crunch,
there.
crunch, munch, munch.
Yeah, it really works. And that's why I love these Korean kind of mimetic words, onomatopoeias, because they just add a little more depth to what you're talking about.
Exactly. Visualize it. And in fact, in many makchang restaurants, you can actually order 오도독 고기.
No way.
I forget the exact name, but 오도독 goes in the name and it's this crunchy kind of cartilage plus meat plus flesh. It's so good.
Is that the one? Okay, so like if you picture like samgyeopsal and then there's sometimes those little bits of cartilage inside of that, would that be considered 오도독 고기?
No. This is like 50% cartilage.
Nope. That's a big old nope for me. Absolutely not. I reject the cartilage.
It's surprisingly good, this particular cut.
Really?
Right? So, yeah.
Okay, guys, maybe I'll write it down. 오도독 고기. I'll have to take a look and see if I can find it somewhere. But so we have so far, as we said, we have the 꿀꺽, which is to gulp something. Mm-hmm. We have the 꿀떡, which is to swallow something kind of eagerly, like really, like
in one go.
And then we have the 벌컥벌컥, which is guzzling something. And now we have the 오도독, which is kind of that crunchy, munchy sound of like that kind of sound there when dogs or animals are kind of eating like that. But what's this next one here?
Oh, here's a good one. So, 짭짭대지 말고 조용히 밥 먹어라.
Oh man, I feel like my mom, if she knew this, she would have said this every day to me growing up here. 짭짭대지 말고 조용히 밥 먹어라. And that 짭짭대지 말고 is kind of like, that feeling of smacking your lips, right?
Making sounds while you're eating. I do this all the time.
That kind of sound there. Oh, my mom would yell at me. And I just got a note here that you can even say 쩝쩝대지 말고 is kind of the same feeling there. 짭짭대지 말고 짭짭대지 말고 same. You can use both. They're both okay there, but it's that smack in your lips, eating kind of noisily. But what's interesting is I found out this is kind of a cultural difference here, the
Agreed.
eating noisy. Because would you say in the States, it's considered, I don't want to say rude, but it's much more polite to eat with your mouth closed. And
Good manners.
Yeah, it's good manners. So my mom, ever since I was a kid, would just be like, hey, chew with your mouth closed. Or why are you making so much noise? Stop it. Like she would just stare at me across the table like, what are you doing? Stop that. But in Korea, and other places around the world as well, things like slurping noodles or slurping food can be seen as like respecting the fact it's so delicious, showing appreciation for it. So almost eating too quiet is not giving that sort of recognition, right?
Agreed. Just don't go overboard as I do. I'm like, and then people are like, is he crazy? Right? So,
Oh my gosh. Do you know what's funny is, okay, I've mentioned this before. So I have a habit when I eat where if I really like something, I will make that noise. And I don't know I'm making it. So I'll just be eating. I'll be like, And there are times when it's good, but I don't make the noise. And my mom would be like, wait, what's wrong? What? You didn't make the noise. And I was like, what noise are you talking about? She's like, the noise. I was like, I don't make noise. She's like, oh yeah, you do. I apparently do that. So I'm guilty as charged of being a little bit noisy. So that's the 짭짭 or the 쩝쩝대지 말고 밥 먹어라. 조용히 밥 먹어라. Now this next one here, what is that?
oh, this is a tough one. So let's give it a go here. 홀짝홀짝 거리지 말고 쭉 들이켜봐.
Oh, now this one here, we're again talking about mouth noises. This one is 홀짝홀짝 거리지 말고 쭉 들이켜봐. And so that's talking about
Sipping, yes, to slurp just a bit. But I would say instead of slurping, probably just to sip a liquid typically. So here it's like,
yeah.
don't sip your drink. Take it all in. Kind of.
Okay.
One gulp, yeah.
So is this one only for liquids or can you, I was going to say when you sip something, it's generally only liquid form that you can sip it, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. And so in my head, I really picture when you have hot soup and you take a spoonful of it and you're kind of like that sort of sound. Would that be like a 홀짝홀짝 sound there?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay, so we have this tiny little sippy sound. What would be the opposite of that then? Would there be an opposite for it?
Don't know. That's a really good question.
No,
you
no.
mean like an onomatopoeia? For
Yeah,
that?
like a slurping up or like gobbling something up sort of sound. Is there any sort of sound that we go opposite of that? Perhaps this next one that we have here, would this one work for it?
Ooh, okay, there you go. Maybe, right? So let's have a listen, right? 라면을 한 젓갈에 후루룩 다 먹었어. 다
yeah.
먹었다, I should say.
So that 후루룩, what is that exactly?
Okay, so I've heard two different versions here. There's 후루룩 and also 후루룩.
Yeah,
well, right?
I would say I've heard the 후루룩 one, the 후루룩 sound there, but 후루룩 as well is totally fine. They're both equal as far as we know. What does that exactly mean?
To eat, I would say to slurp really quickly or to slurp a lot to eat.
Like gobble it all up, slurp it all up. So I picture here, as the example says, ramen. Oh, yes. It's just, can you guys imagine it? Just a big thing of ramen hanging out my mouth. And I'm just like, that is what 후루룩 or 후루룩 is kind of that feeling, right?
Exactly. Down the chute, right?
Oh, down the chute. I love that. There is our English lesson for the day, everyone. Down the chute. Just slurp it all in here. So if we can go through these sounds one
Sure.
more time from start to finish. What was that first one?
Okay, 굴꺽.
꿀꺽, to gulp. Okay, and then the second one?
굴떡.
That's a little different. 꿀꺽, 꿀떡. So that one was swallowing eagerly. And then the next one?
벌컥벌컥.
Oh, yeah, and that's guzzling something.
a
now.
liquid, right.
Ooh. And then the crunchy munchy ones?
Oh, this is a fun one. So 오도독, 오도독.
I love that. And then the next one with the smacky sounds.
Sure. So there's 짭짭 and also 쩝쩝.
And then we have the last two here, the sipping one.
Okay, so sipping very carefully here would be 홀짝홀짝.
홀짝홀짝. And then finally the slurping it up, the gobbling it up.
So we have 후루룩 and 후루룩.
I love those there. But as you guys know, before we go, we always need to make sure we got time for, your movie debut here. So let's take a listen to our final movie clip.
너 일단 편도로 갈 거지?
비행기로 간다니까.
Ooh, it's very simple, very short, but I'm always excited to hear this Oscar-worthy voice. Let's take a listen to Daniel's version.
Here, I'll give it my best go. So, 너 일단 편도로 갈 거지? 비행기로 간다니까?
So this one here, they're talking about going one way, right? That's where we get that
yes.
편도. Yeah. When you talk about, a lot of the times with trips, you talk about like one way versus round trip.
Exactly.
And so when we're talking one way, we say 편도. But what would round trip be?
왕복.
왕복. So if you go onto a travel website and you guys are looking for tickets here, make sure you check which one you're looking for. Is it 편도 or is it 왕복? We don't want you stranded somewhere accidentally.
Exactly. And I should mention that if you're booking like a train or a bus in Korea, as far as I know, there's no discount for round trip.
Really?
So might as well just book one way.
Yeah,
if
might as well.
You're not sure, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
If you're not sure, don't risk it there.
You might want to stay, right? So,
Exactly. Well, Daniel, thank you so much. I had such a blast with you again.
same here. Right.